There's so much talk about trauma healing these days. It's everywhere. So, what is actually the best way to heal trauma that's affecting you in ways you know about, and more importantly, in ways you don't know about, like hidden or forgotten traumas of early childhood or ancestral suffering that manifests epigenetically? Plus, there's also current global disasters, climate change, et cetera, that you may or may not realize you are affected by. So, a lot of us are getting repeatedly re-triggered and resonating with tons of traumas, from the personal to the collective, from the past, present, and future. Personally, I'm really feeling it these days. But trauma healing has always been essential for me because, as a child of Holocaust survivors, healing both individual and collective global trauma is super important to my higher purpose, which ultimately involves healing and ending holocausts for humanity and all life forms. What about you? How many of your ongoing issues and pains and problems are entangled with trauma somehow? Probably lots, whether you know it or not. So you may be trying out various methods to heal trauma, and some of them are great, but most of them are limited. Most methods to heal trauma will try to target a specific type of mechanism or a small group of mechanisms. They talk about trauma stored in the body, or inner child work, or trauma's influence on autoimmune diseases or nervous system deregulation. And while those things are real and true, they are not the full picture. For example, the current common assumption about trauma healing is that the body keeps the score, as described in Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's excellent book. And while that is true, the body does keep the score. It's not the only thing that keeps the score. So, is healing trauma through the body the best way to do it? Through neurological or biochemical approaches? Or is it better to start through talk therapy or combined therapies like EMDR? Those can all be effective entry points, but in my experience, no one specific treatment is sufficient. Trauma is like whack-a-mole. After you address it in one area, it can resurface again in widely different areas. So, my favorite way to heal trauma is to start everywhere all at once. But how is that even possible? And to be clear, even Dr. van der Kolk says that you should not just do one thing to heal trauma. You should use both a top-down and a bottom-up approach. But his version of top-down is still a bit limited by a vestige of somewhat materialistic assumptions. He's not a fundamentalist materialist. He's holistic, but not truly about wholeness as the really big picture. He talks about body and mind, but not really about everything else, like energy or spirit or psychic or geopathic or morphic resonance, to name just a few. The real top-down approach, in my experience, is to consider not just holistic or holistish stuff like, oh, body, mind, and spirit, how advanced. But it's actually to consider everything in the multiverse as fair game that needs healing, because body, mind, spirit are not the whole picture. It's not just matter, mind, and spirit. It's also energy and resonance and interrelationships of space and time and dimensions, locality and non-locality, duality and triality and multidimensionality. Because in my experience, doing this work with clients and environments and situations, both local and global, since 2005, I perceive trauma healing to be about healing an entire web of entanglements. And it's not a static web either. It's like an interference pattern of waves and nodes that keep changing over time. And my system, Now Healing, is designed exactly to work on these kinds of webs and patterns and standing waves and fields and resonances. The bottom line is that trauma is not just trapped in one place like your brain or a handful of places like your brain and mind and soul. It has intersections in many, many places and times, from a tiny bit of DNA in your cells to some distant past early hominid ancestral trauma that affects millions of your relatives and that nobody will ever be able to pinpoint. That may also be triggered geopathically as you walk through a place where a disaster happened generations ago, and it may have an associated time trigger like a seasonal resonance or a calendar anniversary that entangles with epigenetic resonance and a standing wave of energy in your auric field and in the feng shui of your bedroom, and the smell of a pheromone that triggers stress and anger in your liver meridian from childhood abuse, and tons of other, even less obvious networks of entanglements throughout matter, energy, time, and space. So, going through the body or brain or mind or spirit to clear trauma can often work to start opening things up. But don't just assume that there's one main place your trauma is stored, like your prefrontal cortex or your vagus nerve, and one single root cause, like a childhood trauma, because what caused that? The way we do it in Now Healing takes into account multidimensional entanglements and interrelated points and nodes. It sounds complicated, but it's actually quite simple if you learn a couple of basic ways to do instant energy healing. And I have a free audio that quickly walks you through it. So make sure to sign up for the free healing audio. The link is in the description or at the top of the comments. And then if you're curious and inspired to get trauma healing by healing the big picture of everything all at once, even if it sounds nutty from a mechanistic perspective, you can experience this healing and learn how to do it yourself. So if this resonates with you, please join me in this guided healing for trauma on all levels to clear out your known and unknown traumas and their web of entanglements that can wreak havoc on your health and life. You can access this guided healing as part of my guided healing membership. It's super affordable. You can learn more through the link in the description. And even if you can't spend the small amount of money to join the guided healing membership right now, at least grab my free healing audio, or best of all, do both. Get the free healing audio called Transform Any Problem Now, and sign up for the guided healing membership and get not just this trauma healing that I was mentioning earlier, but you'll get healing and healing tools for anything else you can think of. If you have questions about trauma or anything, post it in the comments, and please be sure to hit like, and please grab my free healing audio. Thank you. This is Elma with Love and Wholeness, signing off for now.